So, you know, I asked him if there was anything else he wanted to share with the picture, and he said no. And then I said, well, is there anything about this picture that reminds you of your life? Because I'm just hoping, you know, okay, now we're going to talk about the divorce. And he said, well, I'm a little lonely sometimes, and I don't have any friends except Parker, who lives across the street from my mom's house where I grew up.
Yeah. You know, sometimes I repeat each sentence, and I'm like, what's the first sentence?
The first sentence was, I'm in between two apartments.
So sometimes I'll say, okay, you said you were in between two apartments. Does that remind you of anything in your life? And I'll do each one because it's too much for him at one time to go back. So he might have said, well, I'm in between my mother and my dad, you know, that kind of thing. A lot more information comes out when you do it that way.
Do you think it's okay to bring the drawing back into a later session and look at it, or is it?
Sometimes it is, but you could tell by how he responds. You know, you could say, you know, I want to do some more, talk some more about your drawing. I was really looking at it, and I wanted to ask you more things. And if his energy drops and he just doesn't seem to be very contactful with you about it, then you know he's not really interested. Then you'd say, oh, well, never mind, let's do something else. But he might be interested. He might be happy that you're interested in his drawing. And you could say, oh, you know, I was thinking about some of the things you said, and you would repeat each thing,
sentence.
and you know. And sometimes I'll even say, if you said I'm between two apartments, and he says, no, that doesn't fit for my life, I might even say, I was wondering, because, you know, I know your parents are separated, so you must go back and forth. That somehow that made me think of that. What about you? Does that fit in any way for you? Often they'll say, oh, yeah, you know, I never thought of that. Yeah.
So you can kind of muse out loud about what you think he might be thinking.
Yeah, and if he says no, then you just let it go.
Move
and you
on.
go on to the next, what was the next sentence?
I'm lonely. I was planted here by the owner of the apartment on the left.
So he did talk about his loneliness.
Yes.
Yeah. And
then he associated the loneliness with not having any friends, which fits with the problems going on at school.
Yeah.